subjected New Yorkers to over 684,000 stops and frisks. To put that in perspective, that's 14% more than the year before, and 600% more than when Mayor Bloomberg, I just changed the mayor's name. Don't tell him. That's 600% more than when Mayor Bloomberg and Commissioner Kelly took office in 2002. Just to show you the increase graphically, this is 2002 when there were about less than 100,000 stop and frisks, and here we are this year. Picture tells the story. This is not a practice that impacts all New Yorkers equally. 84% of those stopped are Black and Latino. A mere 9% are white. That's right. Blacks are subjected to police stops 6 times as often as whites, and Latinos nearly 4 times as often. Little wonder, then, that to many, policing in New York City is a tale of two cities. And while we don't have the most recent data yet on the age breakdown of stop and frisk activity, if past is prologue, we expect the 2011 numbers to show what has been true for the past decade. Young men of color, who make up about 7.2% of our population, account for 41% of the stops. Our mayor has recognized that young men of color in New York City face special hurdles as they go about their lives, and has launched a well-intentioned Young Men's Initiative to help overcome these obstacles. It is high time for the mayor to recognize that as he is looking for a solution, NYPD stop and frisk abuses are a significant part of the problem. The NYPD spin machine brags about its stop and frisk numbers and claims that the NYPD stop and frisk campaign is responsible for keeping New Yorkers safe. Tell that to the hundreds of thousands of innocent New Yorkers who on over 600,000 separate occasions in the past year were stopped, frisked, maybe thrown up against the wall, and cursed at the same time. Indeed, barely 6% of these terrifying encounters resulted in arrest. And even fewer, 5.9%, led to a summons for an open beer container or disorderly conduct or the like. Our police commissioner has told us that subjecting hundreds of thousands of innocent New Yorkers to police stop every year helps get guns off the street. Yet over the past decade, a mere 0.15%, that's only 1 in over 650 of these street stops, has led to an arrest for possession of a firearm. That's less than 1 in 650. Up till recently, New Yorkers and the mayor have given the NYPD a free pass on stop and frisk because crime's been down and because we have a lot of respect for Commissioner Kelly and for the NYPD. But enough already. We're still trying to sort out what went so tragically wrong with the killing of Ramarley Graham, who was shot by the NYPD as he tried to flush marijuana down the toilet in his own home. And of late, the NYPD has been plagued by one scandal after the next. Ticket fixing, arrest quotas, drug planting, gun trafficking, deception about surveillance of Muslim communities, and a secret collaboration with the CIA. And New Yorkers who previously were content to take whatever the NYPD as gospel truth are now asking questions and demanding answers. Well, this stop and frisk report is a scandal. This is an NYPD scandal. New Yorkers can no longer give the commissioner a free pass on stop and frisk activity that's through the roof. that undermines the quality of life and the well-being of hundreds of thousands of innocent New Yorkers and puts young men of color in particular at risk. The NYPD deceived us about Muslim profiling. It deceived us about quotas. It's time to face the truth about stop and frisk and put an end to the abuse. Thank you. Now I'd like to introduce the Borough President for the Borough of Manhattan, Scott Stringer.
Thank you very much. And I want to say to the ACLU, great work, great job. Donna, this report, I think, makes it very clear that it is time to end this policy of stop and frisk as presently constituted. Here's what's really happening in this city. In communities, individuals, people of color, African American, Latino people, grandparents, parents are worried every time their child goes out for a quart of milk. They're not worried about the criminal on the street, but they're worried whether their child will have an interaction with a police officer and create grave consequences. Communities where people who are Caucasian, people who look like me, never worry about their child or grandchild going to the store for a glass of milk. They're not worried about the police. They welcome the police on their street corner. We're having two separate discussions about this policy, and we can't allow that discussion to happen in different neighborhoods. We have to bring this discussion together. By any measure, a policy that only targets 85% African American Latino people is simply wrong. It's racial profiling, it's racism, and it's having dire consequences in our city. Now, many months ago, when I called on the police commissioner to end this practice, it's currently enforced, I was told, or City Hall said, that they're taking their cue from the police. The mayor's not taking their cue from me. And I want to be here today to say something very clear to all of them. You don't have to listen to me. You have to listen to the parents and grandparents. You have to listen and learn about the data and understand what's going on here. 99% of the time, no gun is found. 94% of the time, no arrest is made. We're spending all this money and time targeting people of color in this city, and that is not reducing crime, but it's creating division in our communities. I am today calling on Mayor Bloomberg to step out of the shadow of Commissioner Kelly and lead on this issue. You cannot hide anymore on an issue that is so compelling. The statistics are so obvious. The communities understand what's going on the streets, and you have to act. The recent killing of that young man, Mr. Graham, points once again to a police force that has become overzealous in their procedures. We have witnessed this at certain times in our city's history, and I do not want to go back to a day where we created a police force that at times became out of control. We have some of the finest police officers in the entire city, men and women who always want to do the right thing and protect people. But we cannot allow this policy to continue that puts officers in harm's way, kids in harm's way, and creates racial division in the city. Mayor Bloomberg, you've done some great things, and we're very proud of Commissioner Kelly. But we must ask you now to stand up and say something. We don't need more studies. We don't need more discussion. We need this mayor to act and change a policy where we're profiling people for all the wrong reasons, while we should be looking at new ways and smarter ways to fight crime. I am very proud to be here with Councilmember Jumaane Williams and Kirsten Foy. They have embraced this issue both through their personal experience and through their advocacy. I also call on elected officials who, quite frankly, look a little more like me to stand up and recognize that the only way we're going to change this policy is if the entire city comes together on this issue. People of all different backgrounds coming together to say we can do better than this, we're a better city, we can change a policy at the same time keep our crime-fighting ways intact. Donald Lieberman, thank you very much for this.